Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. Today I will introduce the past perfect. It is lesson 42. So are you ready? Let's get started. The past perfect is also called the past of the past. Okay? The past perfect is the past of the past. How do we use the past perfect? The structure is subject plus had, which is the auxiliary verb of verb to have, plus the past participle that can be regular or irregular. Here are some examples. I had played chess. I, subject, had the auxiliary verb, played is the past participle of verb to play, which is a regular verb, chess is the object. She had seen the film. She, subject, had the auxiliary verb. Seen is the past participle of verb to see. The film is the object. The auxiliary verb to have. The auxiliary verb have used with the past perfect is conjugated in the simple past. Okay? Please pay attention. The auxiliary verb have used with the past perfect is conjugated in the simple past. Here is the conjugation of verb to have in the simple past. I had, you had, we had, they had, he had, she had, it had. Okay? So there is no change. We keep had. The past participle. It is used in forming perfect tenses. It is only used with perfect tenses. There are 3 spelling rules to form the past participle for regular verbs. The first one, most verbs we add ed at the end of the verb. For example, she had visited London. She, subject, had auxiliary. Visited is the past participle of verb to visit. Okay, it is a regular verb. We just add ed at the end of the verb. The second rule, verbs ending in e, we just add d. For example, I had closed the window. I had closed, verb to close. We just add d at the end of the verb. The third rule, verbs ending in consonant plus y. We drop y and we add ied. Okay? For example, we had studied hard. We had studied, verb to study. We drop y and we add ied at the end of the verb. Spelling rules to form the past participle for irregular verbs. There are no rules to form the past participle for the irregular verbs. You must learn them by heart, okay? The better you practice, the better you learn. Here are some verbs. In the simple present, verb to go, go, went, gone, went in the past simple, gone in the past participle. Have, had, had. Verb to be in the simple present, is or are. In the past simple, was or were. In the past participle, been. Okay? Come, came, come. Eat, ate, eaten. Run, run, run. Say, said, said. Tell, told, told. Make, made, made. Choose, choose, chosen. Drink, drank, drank. Leave, left, left. See, saw, seen. Read, read, read. Okay, please keep practicing. Forms. So we'll conjugate some verbs in the affirmative, negative, and interrogative form. Okay, verb to work. It is a regular verb, so we'll conjugate it in the affirmative, negative, and interrogative form. So for the affirmative form, I had worked, or the short form, I'd worked. He had worked, or he'd worked. She had worked, or she'd worked. It, we don't use it with verb to work, okay, because it refers to animals, places, and things. We had worked, or we'd worked. You had worked, or you'd worked. They had worked, or they'd worked. For the negative form, I had worked, I had not worked. We add not. I had not worked, or I hadn't worked. He had not worked, or the short form, he hadn't worked. She had not worked, or she hadn't worked. We had not worked, or we hadn't worked. You had not worked, or you hadn't worked. They had not worked, or they hadn't worked. For the interrogative form, had I worked? Had he worked? Had she worked? Had we worked? Had you worked? Had they worked? Okay? So please keep practicing. Okay? For verb to eat, it is irregular verb. In the affirmative form, I had eaten. Okay? Or the short form, I'd eaten. He had eaten, or he'd eaten. She had eaten, or she'd eaten. It had eaten, or it'd eaten. We had eaten, or we'd eaten. You had eaten, or you'd eaten. They had eaten, or they'd eaten. Okay, so short form, we use it with spoken, okay, with spoken English. Okay, we don't use it in writing or in formal English. In the negative form, I had not eaten. Okay, we use not in the negative form. I had not eaten, or I hadn't eaten. He had not eaten, or he hadn't eaten. She had not eaten, or she hadn't eaten. It had not eaten, or it hadn't eaten. We had not eaten, or we hadn't eaten. You had not eaten, or you hadn't eaten. They had not eaten, or they hadn't eaten. For the interrogative form, had I eaten? Had he eaten? Had she eaten? Had it eaten? Had we eaten? Had you eaten? Had they eaten? Okay, so better we practice, better we learn. So please keep practicing. Yes, no answers. Okay, or short answers. Had you finished your work? Yes, I had. No, I had not, or the short form, I hadn't. Okay, we make use of the auxiliary verb had. She had gone to school. Had she gone to school? Yes, she had. So here we don't use the contraction. Yes, she had. No, she had not, or no, she hadn't. When do we use the past perfect? The past perfect tense is used to talk about two events that happened in the past. One took place earlier than the other. Okay? One comes first and the other comes after. The one which happened first is conjugated in the past perfect, and the second can be conjugated in the past simple. Okay, so please look here at the timeline. We have the first action, okay, and we have the second action. Both of them are in the past, but the first one is the past of the past. Okay, so the first action comes earlier than the second action. So the first action is conjugated in the past perfect, and second action is conjugated in the past simple. Okay, so let's see the first example. The train had left when I arrived to the station. The train, or it, had left. The train had left is verb to leave in the past perfect. It is the first action. When I arrived to the station, when is the connection? I arrived to the station is the second action. Okay? So, the train had left, the first action is conjugated in the past perfect. When I arrived is the second action, it is conjugated in the past simple. Okay? The train had left is the past of the past. Okay? So the train had left when I arrived to the station. The second example, I had eaten lunch before I went to school. I had eaten lunch is the first action, and it is conjugated in the past perfect. Before I went to school I went to school is the second action, and it is conjugated in the past simple. I had eaten lunch before I went to school. So I went to school is the past, and I had eaten lunch is the past of the past. The third example, he was very tired because he hadn't slept well. Okay, so please pay attention. Either of the two events can be placed before the other, as the sentence's tense will indicate the order of the event. Okay, so it doesn't matter if we change the order of the events. Okay, for example, here we have the second action that comes first in the sentence, just in the sentence, but for the conjugation it shows that which one comes first. So he was very tired, this is the second action, because he hadn't slept yet. Because he hadn't slept well. Because he hadn't slept well. He hadn't slept well is the first action, and we conjugate it in the past perfect. Verb to sleep. He hadn't slept well is the first action, because is the connection. It connects two actions. He was very tired. Okay, he was a verb to be in the simple past. This is the second action. From the conjugation, we know which one comes first and which one comes second. Also, for the fourth example, when I arrived to the station, the train had left. Here we change the order. Okay, we start with the connection, and then with the second action, which we conjugate in the simple past. When I arrived, verb to arrive in the simple past, to the station, the train had left. The train had left is the first action. Okay, and we conjugate it in the past perfect. When I arrived to the station, the train had left. We come to the end of the video, so thank you for your attention, and see you in the next video.